music was my talent. Health became my passion. When my mother, who then having these two babies, one on either hip of mine, 16 months apart, you get that phone call. You know, when you found that phone call from your mom, and it was ring, ring, ring. I said, Mom, how are you? She said, Jody, I'm not good, in her Norwegian accent. I said, what's wrong, Mama? And she said, they say I have cancer. They gave me 6 weeks to live.
Oh my
And
God.
I rolled off the toilet paper off that roll until there was no more. And I booked it back to Montana. You know, Midwestern girl from Minnesota, went to school, Montana, in that, you never know, ladies and gentlemen, because it's that whispers of your own listening, those whispers that give you hope. I went to the Laurel, Montana library. Let me tell you,
Okay. Yeah.
Laurel, Montana, the library had probably a tenth of the books of what my husband, who's graduated to heaven, had with his 10,000 books in the house.
Oh my gosh.
But
I have 1,000, not 10,000, and they're already everywhere.
yeah. But
Okay, so you went to the library and you found a book?
I booked it. I knew exactly which aisle to go.
Okay.
Went back, and there was this much dust on it. It was Edgar Cayce's Protocol.
Okay.
And
Yeah.
I knew it was that book. I didn't know anything about it.
Is that the old school stuff where they use the oil, the castor oil packs? Do you remember that?
Oil, liver detoxing, and right next to him was Dr. Hulda Clark, that I ended up being mentored by for 4.5 years.
Isn't that cool?
And those two books were there, blew off the dust, went up to the librarian, and I said, I need these. I didn't say I wanted to check them out. I said, I need these, because
you were never going to bring those back, were you?
And 3.5 years later, my mother transitioned from this world into the next. And she said to me, give others hope, Jody, the way you gave it to me. That was it.
Well, you said that in your intro today, and so you're doing it. So congratulations, young lady, of listening to your mother.
Oh, yes. 49 years later. And what goes on. So I will still say, Adrian, listen to your mother.
Oh, no, that wasn't the goal here. But what we are going to say is, how do you know where you're being led? What are you feeling as a 14-year-old girl, kind of trying to find, hey, what does God have for me? I got this talent and that talent. She loves instruments, playing instruments. She's a great singer like you, Jody. I don't know that she's on the opera level, but you know, you love to do animations. And
I dabble in a lot of stuff, but
I
think if I was talking like career-wise or what I want to do in the long run and not just little hobbies here and there, I'd say, one, you have to take into account what is godly and what is right biblically.
Okay.
2, you have to take in what will actually like be something you can do the rest of your life.
Okay.
Like you can't, I mean, you could be a musician, but you know, it takes a certain amount of talent to be successful in that.
Yes, yes.
And then you have to take into what you know God is leading you towards and the field that you are destined for in his great will. And then for me, I mean, I know my mom, God talks to her more than he does to me, but I can kind of tell when something is like right in God's will. So I also take into account, you know, what I'm good at, like career-wise, and like if I'm good with my hands or if I can retain well, like memory-wise. And I feel that I'm being led into the medical field as a surgeon, and I felt that way since I was really young. And I know though that I don't want to be a chiropractor like my mom, because I feel I just don't feel like it's my calling in God, and I respect them for what they do. It's amazing, but I just, one, I don't think it's what I'm meant to do, and 2, I'm not really interested in the profession myself as doing it.
Well, and it's great that what I got out of this, amazing offspring that you are, Amanda. Okay, so you know what you don't want, you know what you want, and you're open to wherever that guidance is going to be. I didn't know it was going to come through my mother when she was transitioning, and who knew because there's something about musicians. Can I share a little secret? Okay, as they say in Espanol, a little el secreto about musicians, because we're so intuitive. Okay, little did I know that was, by the way, ladies, that was yours truly singing the background vocals for Alicia Williamson. That was me singing, and the song is "There Is Hope." It became that Alicia Williamson got not only a Dove Award but a Grammy for that song.
Wow, that's amazing.
And it became my theme song. I didn't know that I would raise these two little boys and do all this competitive nutrition work, because they were big time swimmers and ended up being in the Olympics, one of them, and the other was a 9-time All-American. So I followed them up. I didn't know that I would sing the national anthem on, you name it, stages, because of my background.
So that's great, Jody.
But it can integrate like that.
Right. And I will want to say something about that, is that even though I knew at 13 I was meant to be a chiropractor, the real journey began in college, when I went off to college, and just an innocent, kind of naive person, and I had date rape. And then I became very obese and pain all over my body. And I started self-destructing with drugs and alcohol and food. And I felt like no one would want to marry me, like I was damaged goods. And that's some of the stories I'm finally sharing now. And I'm 50 this year. So it's taken all these years to finally talk about under the surface of what created fibromyalgia, chronic fatigue, irritable bowel, autoimmune thyroid, and depression. Right. And it was a trauma that I just buried in my body and went on, thought this is college. This is what university happens. I guess this is life. And then the healing journey, which was a journey to come out of that, took me all over the world, and also really enhanced what I was already going to be. So it's a different vibration. Like I often say, I can feel a heartbeat energetically of patients that have been abused. I can feel, it's like, and this is what I would say, my intuition now works where I can read people. Like she's saying, people aren't their real personality. For me, it's not hard to work them out. I can find a bond and understand. And it's almost like I can track backwards, because I've done a lot of emotional healing work with patients over the last 20 years. And you start to understand why they became who they became, why their addictions are their addictions, why their weight is on their body. Do you know what I'm saying? Why the kind of diseases that they manifested that they can heal or manage, control, contain. So that journey really came from pain. Like really pain is, was a starting point. And I think of it, and I hate to say it this way, but I think of it as a pile of poop that without God, what would I have done with a pile of poop? I don't know how you work that out. I don't know how you transform that. I mean, I really believe in transformational work, but I don't know that I buy into people that have been sexually traumatized over and over and over as kids, and that they're just gonna get better somehow. Like life is gonna work out, and they marry a horrible another abuser. I don't think so. So
no.
Any thoughts you guys have about that? And she's learning to be, I think her calling is also her message. Like God's test is her testimony, right? So we know that, but it's good to be on the other side of it. But
with fibromyalgia, I want to and then Adrian, and I love this conversation. The fibromyalgia, it's anger turns inwards. The issues are in your tissues. We could rhyme time it all over. I mean, the 1,000,000 pounds of toxic fat loss that I did when I had my brick and mortar practice,